For 30 years, our relationship with the digital world was contained within a rectangle. We stared into glass screens, laptops, tablets, and smartphones to access the collective intelligence of the human race. We lived in a flat world where data was something you looked at, not something you lived within. In 2026, the rectangle has vanished. We are entering the era of spatial computing. It is a definitive milestone where the software ecosystems have finally caught up with hardware capabilities, creating what analysts call the Android moment of the industry. This isn't just about headsets or gaming. It is about a $1.2 trillion inflection point where data is mapped directly onto the physical atoms of our reality. Today, we're decoding the spatial shift. We'll explore how contextual intelligence is replacing traditional interfaces, why the Industrial Metaverse is saving billions in manufacturing, and how the smartphone replacement cycle has officially begun. Welcome to Capital Chronicles. To understand 2026, you have to understand the AR cloud. In the old world, your GPS knew your coordinates, but it didn't know your environment. It couldn't see the door in front of you or the pipes behind the wall. The spatial shift is built on persistent mapping. Using the massive fleet of LiDAR sensors on our cars, wearables, and drones, we have created a high-fidelity digital twin of the entire planet. This is the infrastructure of presence. When you look at the world through 2026's High-CRI optics, you aren't just seeing reality, you are seeing a web-enabled environment. A technician can look at a broken transformer and see a 3D schematic floating over the hardware, highlighting the exact bolt that needs tightening. A doctor can project a patient's MRI data directly onto their body during surgery. The manual is dead. The world itself has become the interface. While the consumer market enjoys immersive shopping, the real trillion-dollar value is being created in the Industrial Metaverse. In 2026, manufacturing has moved from try and fail to simulate and succeed. Companies are using spatial computing to run entire production cycles in a virtual sandbox before a single machine is turned on. By integrating IoT data with 3D spatial models, we can see bottlenecks before they happen. The results are staggering. Large-scale industrial firms report a 10% increase in operational efficiency and a 96% reduction in training time. We've reached a point where a new hire can be trained on a $50 million aerospace assembly line in 15 minutes using spatial overlays, achieving better performance than veteran workers trained on paper. This is the productivity paradox solved. We are using digital worlds to build the physical one faster, cheaper, and safer. The most significant shift of 2026 is the emergence of the spatial operating system. We've moved past apps that you open and close. Now, we have experiences that are contextually aware. In 2026, your spatial OS understands the geometry of the room. It knows that your kitchen table is a surface for a digital cookbook, and your living room wall is a cinema. It uses gesture and motion control to turn your hands into the mouse and your eyes into the cursor. This is ambient intelligence. The computer is no longer a device you carry, it is a layer of the room. It follows you from space to space, projecting the information you need, exactly where you need it, without you ever having to reach for a pocket. The smartphone isn't dying because it's obsolete. It's dying because it's too small for the world we've built. Perhaps the most human impact of the spatial shift is the democratization of expertise. In 2026, geography is no longer a barrier to skill. We are seeing the rise of remote spatial presence. An expert in Japan can teleport into a factory in Brazil as a high-fidelity avatar, seeing exactly what the local worker sees and physically pointing to the solution in 3D space. This is closing the global skills gap. It allows a surgeon in a rural village to perform a complex procedure with the real-time, spatial guidance of a world-class specialist thousands of miles away. We aren't just sharing information anymore, we are sharing presence. The agentic economy provided the intelligence. Spatial computing provides the hands. But a world mapped in 3D raises the ultimate question of spatial privacy. If your glasses can see everything you see, who owns the map of your home? In 2026, data sovereignty has moved from the server to the space. We are seeing the development of privacy bubbles, encrypted spatial zones where mapping data is processed locally on the device and never touches the cloud. The companies that win the spatial war won't just have the best optics, they will have the most trusted reality. As we merge the physical and digital, the terms of service are becoming the new laws of physics. We are building a world where your digital rights are as tangible as the walls of your house. The story of 2026 is the story of the total convergence. We've tokenized the assets, we've empowered the agents, we've powered the grid, and now we have stepped into the interface. The spatial shift is the final piece of the 2026 puzzle. It is the bridge that allows us to walk through the data, to touch the intelligence, and to inhabit the economy we've engineered. We are no longer observers of the future, we are the architects of it. To stay ahead of the innovations defining this new era of reality, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Capital Chronicles as we continue to track the forces building a better tomorrow. Thanks for watching.